It doesn't cost you $1. Not $1. I can raise your taxes to build the airport. I can ask you to ante up more money to build the airport. Not $1 do you have to pay for me to lower your taxes. Oh, gracious. Not $1 do you have to pay for me to lower your taxes. But the only way I can lower your taxes is to shift them to someone else who's coming. Right now ain't nobody coming. Everybody leaving. That's the problem. That's the fight I've been fighting. Right now, no one's coming. Everybody's leaving. So when you come to me and you say, you want more crop insurance, I say, the committee of 12 in Washington is going to say there's not enough government, there's not enough revenue coming into the government for crop insurance this year. When you come to me and say you want more money for better schools, there's not enough money coming into the government for better schools. You say you want more more investment in research at the University of Illinois in seed modification. I said there ain't no more money. There ain't no revenue come in for the research to make it easier for you to plant a seed that scares away a boll weevil or moth or some bug that I'm not familiar with that you have to deal with every day, every season. I don't know. You know, if the corn isn't right, the bug's gonna eat the damn thing.
Corn borers and cutworms.
Thank you. That's a new one to me.
Gypsy
Corn borer and a cutworm.
Yeah.
Right. So, in order to pay for the research to create a seed that the corn borer and the cutworm doesn't eat, has to be revenue.
Right.
So, I wish I had my map, but my guy
we do have a gas station in Peotone.
my guy's from the city. He ain't gonna find it. In fact, some of y'all might have to ride me back to the nearest highway so I can hail a cab.
Tom, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Congressman,
Yes, sir.
You've mentioned jobs. What's your position on like the locks and dams, repairing the locks and dams and extending them for the bigger barge
I am
tows?
very supportive of that. I am, just so that you know, I'm a 17-year member of Congress. Only Congressman Bobby Rush and Luis Gutierrez have served in Congress longer than me. That makes me a senior member. That's Democrat or Republican. We have delivered more than $900 million in direct appropriations to the people of the 2nd District of Illinois. I propose to deliver another $700 million and 15,000 jobs not far from here, which will change the very tax structure of everything around us for a very long time in a favorable direction. But even with these numbers, as the state's only appropriator, I'm responsible for appropriating money to every congressional district in the state. Now, no one wants to give me credit. My name is Dan Rostenkowski. They give me credit for the whole state. But they ain't gonna give Jesse Jackson Jr. credit for the whole state. But I'm the only person on the Appropriations Committee. Under the Constitution, all appropriations bills start in the House. I'm the only appropriator in the House. That does mean, if you read the paper, it looks like I don't do nothing. But the reality is, we're responsible for appropriating for the whole state, everything.
Like Tom mentioned with locks and dams, you know.
I'm going to come back to locks and dams for a second. Which means locks and dams, to some large extent, are my responsibility. And the extent to which we have tried to, one, repair locks and dams, dredge the canals and the rivers even deeper so that we can get the right kind of barges and boats to get access to the ocean is an absolute priority of mine. Obviously, I can't do that alone. Tim Johnson's a big supporter of the same idea. There's been increasingly less funding for the Army Corps of Engineers to follow up and follow through on many of these projects. I mean, as you can imagine, these projects are taking place all around the country and all around the world. And at this hour, we have a Congress that is unwilling to give the president the authority to advance a small jobs bill, let alone the jobs bill of the size that we actually need to dredge the locks, to dredge the canals, to make them lower so that large, heavy barges can get through, to widen the locks so that, and modernize them, because some of them were built a century and a half ago, so that large vehicles can get through, and move us from a region that only focuses on Great Lakes traffic, Canada, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and all the activity, because we can't get down the locks to get to the ocean to get our products out of here. So again, this is a long-term question and a long-term problem.
But you support this?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I want you to get your product to market. Yes,
Right
ma'am.
quick, I want to make sure that we get a chance to go over by the equipment. So
Yeah,
you
plenty
can
of
see,
time.
they say we're sitting here, we're standing in a wheat pile, and I think Lynn needs to kind of show you the tractors and some of the
I
technology.
want to see it all. I want to also.
Yep.
I don't want anyone to say Jesse came and he was running. He was in a rush. I want to make sure that what I'm saying, and I'm glad she's recording it, is accurate and it is clear. And don't edit it. Deliver it exactly the way I said it.
Before we move over there, just a question, just from somebody that's out here and listening to the news media and so forth, and from where you come from, the president's jobs bill is what it is, and you look at the first jobs bill, and it really didn't seem to do much of anything. And most people out here right now, at least people I talk to, are saying, well, what's this next jobs bill going to do? What's this next $450 billion going to do?
Let me comment on that. If this barn were on fire and you tried to put out the fire with a water hose, please do not conclude that water does not put out fires. Maybe you should conclude that your hose is too small.
I know where you're going.
You know exactly where you're going.
We just, they're saying, well, we just didn't spend enough so
Well,
far.
the economic whole is much larger than anyone thought it would be. It's much larger than the first stimulus. 25 million people are unemployed. Now let me tell you what my proposal would be. Now, this is a bitter pill to swallow. This is bitter. For $600 billion, President proposed 457 billion, 458. For $600 billion, our government could hire 15 million people at $40,000 a head to do socially useful work. That is, Ms. Deutsch should be able to call the Department of Labor and say, today, I need some help. Y'all have 50 people y'all can send me over here who can help. It's harvest time. And the federal government should be able to say at the Department of Labor, Ms. Deutsch, we do have 50 people. We're sending them over to you right now. 50 people, how long do you need them? I need them for 2 weeks. Okay, no problem. They're on their way, Ms. Deutsch. Just let us know. Here are the forms. Let us know that the 50 people showed up and they came every day, and then send them back. Exactly. Until such time as the private sector and the economy. Now, all these 15 million people would be paying taxes. They would be taxpayers. It's not a giveaway. These people are going to work. This isn't $40,000 per head to have someone sitting on their behind. This is people going to work. I'm just putting them to work in the context of the help that you may need right now. And I just, let me localize it, because I can go in the city and tell you that there's some people in my wife's ward who would say, can they please clean up this lot next to my house? This is an abandoned building. Can they strip it down? Can they? So there are things that socially useful people could do. One thing we do know, they're occupying Wall Street, LaSalle Street. That's $600 billion. Now watch this. For another $104 billion, all of the states and their deficits could be eliminated if the federal government advanced a $104 billion part of that stimulus. That's $704 billion. For another $100 billion, I wipe out all of the municipal debt in the United States. $804 billion. $804 billion and the economic crisis goes away. Now I have to borrow it to get us there. But what I have done is I've eliminated misery in the land. And there's misery in the land. There's an additional $2.5 trillion in private sector funds that's sitting on the sidelines, that's waiting for us to end as a nation the demand crisis. People aren't buying anything because they're unemployed. But if you put 15 million people to work very quickly, you end the demand crisis because it's Christmas time. People start doing what people do with $40,000. Some will be paid more based on their skills, some will be paid less. But the average around $40,000, and that eliminates 15 million unemployed people in our society, and the context and the climate changes as a result of that. That would be the stimulus that Jesse Jackson Jr. would advance. Now, that's a big water hose. That's a big water hose. But let me tell you this, and I'll conclude this part, and then I'd be happy to take the time. I'm going to spend this time with you guys. Imagine for a moment if Miss Deutsch and this young lady and these ladies did not have the right to vote. Well, you didn't have the right to vote until, 1920s. Right? And even though it's not your struggle, you're not a suffragette, someone fighting for the right to vote. You're the beneficiary of it. For or against Hillary Clinton, she got to run because of
Right.
it. For or against Michelle Bachmann, she gets to run because of it. It's not something she's arguing about in
No,
presidential debates, because it's a foregone conclusion. But because you have the right to vote, you believe in America a little bit more. To date, only Mr. Gender had the right to vote, only I had the right to vote. You'd be mighty frustrated with this country, that you have no say in it. So what the right to vote for women in the 19th Amendment actually did was it bought America more time. 51% of our population can believe in America because they do have some say in November or in March or whenever the primary and general elections are. It bought you more time. What does America need since we're in a now society? As someone who can look at the panoply, if that's the correct word, of American history, what do we need right now? Since we're all at each other's throats? Our country. Not Jesse Jackson Jr., not Barack Obama, not the Democrats. No, our country, which is 250 years old, our country. The greatest experiment in the history of the world. We're not China, we're not Russia, we ain't got no king, we ain't got no dictator, we ain't got the greatest country. And what do we need right now? More than anything, more than jobs, more than health care, more than quality of life. We need all of that. But what do we need right now more than anything? We need more time. We need more time to work it out. And every day that some American doesn't believe in America, we lose time. And then someone's going to wake up and say, the government was unable to help my farm. The government was unable to get me a job. The private sector moved to China. And the Constitution isn't worth the weight of the paper that it's written on. My proposal buys us time as one people to figure it out. We need time. And all I can do is plead with the American people that you not shut it down.